I don't know if we really got in this. We were talking about live stream shows. Do you have anything in particular like coming up that you'd like to shout out? Like live stream shows or ongoing concerts or anything that
Oh man, I just got done with most of them. I'm not really planning anything too much. We might, if this lasts much longer,
yeah.
if it lasts another month, the Roof Rabbits will probably do another one.
Okay. Cool.
It's certainly hard to catch the whole band on a phone, the amps and everything. Like the quality's not awesome.
Yeah.
But it's been fun, and it gives us an excuse to get together, when we can. So as of right now, though, no, I don't have anything booked. I just kind of finished everything I was doing. My current plans are getting possibly doing a new Roof Rabbits video pretty soon. We have we have a really interesting location for that.
Awesome.
Our buddy, I found out that a guy that I've known a long time actually owns the Sun Mountain Fun Center, and they're like remodeling it, and so it looks like a little bit more adulty, but still it's going to be fun, like barnwood, and just like they're decking it out.
Wow.
I don't know if that's top secret. I don't think it is, but anyway, I had no idea this dude owned it, and I've known him a long time. So I was like, hey, what do you think about us, when quarantine's over, like at night, letting us in, shooting a music video in there, throwing a party, riding, bowling, doing bumper cars, and just get silly. And he was totally into it. So
that's awesome.
We'll see what happens with that. We need a new music video for the Rabbits. And then I'm also going to be working on solo acoustic album, because I do kind of outlaw country type stuff, alt country stuff as well. And so, that album has been on the back burner for a long time. And I finally got, I think the last of the songs were finally just finished. Might be one or two more even. So cool. I'm going to try to get in on that soon, get into the studio and do a couple little videos for that. Probably not professional stuff, but I don't have any presence on YouTube or anything. I haven't been doing any of that. So
it's hard.
I'm trying to get my ass in gear and get a couple things up there for people to watch.
Cool. Yeah, man. That is exactly what I was wondering about. If you're doing solo stuff, if there's anything else that you like to mention as far as you're still like, are you selling your hats and other, because you do leather work too, or?
Yeah, I do some leather work. So one of the things that's going on is, before all this hit, is I work really closely with my friend Damon, and his brother started a company called Nomad Leather. And so we share a shop. I help them out with bigger festivals because they've been doing the festival circuit for a long time. So when he needs help, I'll help him put stuff together, prepare for the show, bust out a bunch of new cuffs and belts and gear, and then and go help him vend. So, and actually last year was really fun. He always has a spot at Wildwood Music Festival. And last year, man, Sam Chase and Willie T were there. Got to go vend Wildwood. Yeah. Had a good time hanging around the fire with those guys, talking story. It was good times.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I work with them, and I do all the hat shaping. I collect vintage Stetsons and Resistals mostly, but old beaver felt stuff. Mm-hmm. A lot of times they're just big, like shit kicking cowboy hats, and reshape them and make them more modern.
Okay.
And, deck stuff out for people in a way that they, if somebody's looking at certain directions, I want like distressed stuff or whatever. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of artistic license in there, but it's something I kind of accidentally found myself in. I've been collecting hats for a long time. Yeah. I don't even know why. I've been that guy for a long time. So I was like, man, one day I kind of did one just because I'd been seeing some stuff. And so I shaped one up and started just grinding on it and distressing it and adding stuff to it. And I was like, man, this is fun, I posted a picture and somebody immediately wanted it. I was
Cool.
like, oh, I was just kind of like posting it like, hey, look at this fun thing I did. And so I was like, fuck, I got a couple other ones. Maybe I'll just start doing this. And then, people start wanting to buy it. And you're like, okay, now
Nice.
I got a spot for this to start going.
Cool.
And not a lot of people know how to shape hats. So
Yeah.
it's definitely a good little niche for me around here, especially for people who want something custom, but they don't have like $1,500 for a real custom made,
Yeah.
to your head hat.
Mm-hmm.
So man, I just kind of found myself in that, cards aligned, because I've been collecting for a long time. So
Right on.
I started doing more of it. I work a lot out of Damon's shop. And so before all this happened, we're getting into possibly like doing a 24/7 type of a booth. Not really, instead of like relying on the festival circuit, we have a display truck that somebody's building. And so we're going to team up with another company that does jewelry, a lady out of Southern Oregon. It's called Press Jewelry. And her and her husband built this truck that they want us to run. So we're going to like display their stuff and display our stuff, and basically just have like a pop-up gypsy truck, where we're selling all the stuff at like, basically set it up like a food cart.
Yeah.
Like in the lots with the food carts and everything, just go down there and vend.
That's a great
And we're going to be figuring it out, and we were trying to launch in May. So now that all this has happened, that's going to be pushed back, but we are on the verge of being able to do that, and then like take the truck to festivals and street fairs and stuff.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Right on.
Yeah, so that's in the works as well, and that's going to be called the Nomad Haberdashery.
Okay. Cool. Nomad Haberdashery. That's awesome,
Yeah.
dude. That brings me to my next question, because I've been, this is only my third interview that I've done really on here anyway, and or at all, to be honest. And so I've given a lot of interviews, but I haven't taken them. So I'm trying to think of questions that are really interesting and fun, and not, the same old thing. And also to just have a conversation with your friend. That's
Totally.
my whole channel. I really want to get into just talking and having a good time. And but my next question is, what's your favorite hat that you have? Your personal favorite that you like wearing? Where did it come
that
from?
I wear?
What's the brand?
Oh man, that's tough. That's
Yeah.
a tough one. I got a couple really good ones. For sometimes I like things just because they're historical and weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have, I'll show you. I'll grab it.
Yeah, please.
This isn't my favorite like everyday wear, but I have this crazy Russian hat.
Oh, sweet.
And I don't know if we can, like, you could see it's one of the authentic like poodle fur Russian hats. I think it's some kind of sheep. I think it's some type of a sheep. It's a really weird hat, but I wear this when I want to get weird sometimes.
Yeah.
And I just like it because it's crazy. It's like one of those things you never find, and I think I found it in a thrift store or something.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, this is like authentic, cool hat.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a couple really great Western hats though too. Let me grab those.
Shit, yeah, brother, grab it all. I like this. Show and tell.
Yeah.
That's what these things turn into, it's show and tell. It's good.
So this is a classic. This is called a Stetson Open Road, and it's not really, you wouldn't say crushable, right? But it's a pliable, like softer felt. And so it was made for the wearer to just kind of form it with their hands, and for anybody to wear however they want. So it's a Western hat kind of, but it was really a multi-function style hat. So anybody, it was like city versus country.
Yeah.
Cowboys could wear it, businessmen could wear it. It's got a little touch of class because it's got that down brim.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see this is a really old one. This is like late 50s, early 60s.
Wow.
And it's a 3X Stetson. So it's a lighter weight as well. Like I said, because it's just kind of pliable. And this one sits like this just because it's how I grab it a lot.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you can dress it up. Like I could shape it and I could stiffen it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But this one I just like because I think everybody should have one open road. Like it's a classic style. There's a lot of ways that you can wear it, you know. And it's a gentleman's hat, you know.
Yeah. Cool, man. What's that other one you grabbed?
Those can be pretty easily found. And this is a similar shape. So a lot of the times an open road would be shaped more like this.
Oh.
It's like a shorter Western top with a short brim. This is like a 3-inch brim. And this one I got really fucking lucky one day. So this light color, this light gray is called Silver Belly. And this is a 7X quality Bradford. Bradford brand hat, which is a company out of Texas a long time ago. And this one's probably early 60s as well, maybe into the 70s. But yeah, and the density of the felt, that 7X quality, back in the day, it was like a percentage of the felt, like was beaver fur. So you'd have all these fur felt hats are a blend of beaver fur, rabbit, and sheep, you know.
Okay.
And it used to be like 10X used to mean it was 100% beaver fur. And now companies are so different. I mean, people are saying their hats are 100X or whatever.
Oh.
The rating system didn't used to look like that. So anyway, that's part of the reason that you're always looking for brands like Stetson and Resistol, because those early brands, like, you used to be able to trust their X rating, you know, like how much you could trust the content of the felt, and you'd know that it's good. And it holds up, man. Those things, you know, the good felts, they shape and they last. You know, it's kind of like once you shape it, it'll if you shape it well, it'll stay that way for a long time.
Yeah.
So this one I like just because it was a really high quality hat, a lesser known brand, but a really unique one and really clean for its age. You know?
It looks really good.
So this one I like as well. All I had to do was a little bit of a reshape on it, but it didn't need much cleaning when I found it.
Cool, man. That's a lucky find. I'm sure. I don't know if you've ever. Sorry.
I said that's what it's all about. Gotta get lucky.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever gotten into that conversation much with Willie T, but he's all about it too.
Oh yeah, he's got some great ones too.
Yeah.
I mean, he always hooks up with Havstad and gets like the real expensive ones.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to get into your, like, I only got a couple more for you, but the recording, it sounds really, really great. And I saw that you did it at Dane's place. And so maybe we could talk about the firing room a little bit and about Dane Wood and kind of just give him a bit of a promo, because he is the bomb. And
yeah, absolutely.
How was your experience there at that place?
So it seems like, you know, once you, like in any studio, your results, I mean, it's not just the equipment in the room. It's the part of it's your relationship with the engineer. It's if you know how to communicate with that person. You know what it's like when you have like a drum fill in your head and you're trying to explain what the sound of the drum fill is or something. You know? Like everybody has their own way of saying boogity boogity boo. Like, how do you explain this to somebody? You know, so you have to have a good dynamic with somebody, and I think Dane's really good at that. He's good at tuning it and cut, well, partially because he's a drummer, right?
Yeah.
But
way better at it than I am.
Yeah, and he's also like he's also an audiophile, you know, like he definitely he knows tones, he knows how things are supposed to sound, and if you have some, you know, if you have ideas in mind of like sounds that you're looking for, he's good at like helping you achieve that, you know, helping you get there. For us, we're really simple. It's like I don't even use pedals hardly, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a 1967 Ampeg Gemini 5 amp. It's all tube. It's one 15-inch speaker. I lucked out finding that.
Yeah.
I lucked out finding it, and I love it, you know? And it's like you crank that fucker up, and the tubes are so hot, you get like a nice distortion. And
Yep.
then I just have a tube boost. You know, I have that, and I have a clean boost pedal. And because I'm playing and singing, and I don't know, I'm more focused, I guess, on just like I write everything on the acoustic guitar, you know? So I'm not really a pedal guy. And so we don't use any effects. We don't use any effects really on the recordings, but I just want a clean capture of what my amp's doing.
Yeah.
And so he's really good at that as well, you know? So we get in there and, you know, lay down drums and bass and guitar and vocals, and bring him some ideas of tones we're looking for as far as mix goes, and just kind of go back and forth until it's right, you know. And it's usually, I guess that's the hardest part. Like if you can get through mixing with any studio, that's the hardest part of trying to explain stuff. You know, like, what is it about this track that's not working for me?
Yeah.
You know that everything you laid down is fine, you know. So it's like, what are you hearing that you're frustrated with? And being able to communicate that to somebody and make the adjustments without having to be there every step of the process is a big deal, you know. Having a good relationship with that person, dialogue wise, right?
Yeah, that's what I've found with him. He's very good at, because as an artist, you're like in this little box and you have this window and there's this guy here judging you. And you're like,
there's that too.
Oh yeah, there's this there. Can you do that again? Can you do that again, please? That sucked. No, that's exactly the opposite of the way he is. He's so good at talking to you to bring out what should be there without stepping on your toes or making
or without like hurting your feelings, you know. It's like, oh, you're just a little flat there. That's another thing we should get into. It's like, for me, part of that's relationship as well. It's a pretty fun environment to where, you know, we can have a good rap back and forth and we're all laughing the whole time. And so it is definitely a place where I feel like the least scrutinized of any time in the world, because when you're working on new stuff and when you're recording new stuff, there's a lot of takes that suck, you know. Like
straight up.
You know, there's moments where you're trying it. You've gotten through the last song. You're like, you're doing all these songs up to a point, and then you hit this one fucking note that's just giving you trouble that day. And that happened a couple times. Fuck, Golden Years was weird, right? Because the end of, first of all, it's just a really different song for us. And the end of the verse going into the chorus is actually like, I feel like the key, not in the guitar, but in the vocal, is like a half step up. So you want to like go a whole step, but it's really only a half step up. And so you slip past it, and it kept happening. Right. And like, we were laughing it off. It took me a bunch of times to start fucking nailing it that day. And it was frustrating the hell out of me. And we were all kind of laughing about it. Sam was giving me shit. He's like, it's fucking right there. You can do it, man. And then it was so great because he gets in to do the backup part on it. And then, fuck, that's hard. Like, immediately, then he saw why it was such a bitch, you know?
Yeah. That's.
But Dane is like good at just being like, no, you can do it again. That was good, but I think you got a better one in you. And just keeping it rolling until you get it to.
Yeah.
And if you reach a point where you're really just not getting anything done, he's good at being like, I think we need to move on to something else or call it for the day, because you're not like being yourself. Like, you know, he can tell kind of where you're at too. And he's just super fast. Like, that's the other thing that you can't underrate with any studio is how well that guy knows his equipment. Yeah. You've been in a fuck ton of studios where it takes somebody 30 minutes to change one fucking note or something. Yeah. And you're like, that's not my job. This is why I don't do Pro Tools and shit. This is why you're here. It's because you're supposed to be good at this shit. Yeah. And there's people out there, you know, you're like in a studio, and it's like you'll run into problems in the studio where somebody knows what they want to do and what you're trying to do, and they just can't quite get the program to fucking do it. And that will never happen at Dane's place.
No.
It's like he knows that equipment so well that really cannot be understated.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
because that keeps your time in the studio flowing really well, and it keeps spirits high. If you're just sitting there, all the musicians are sitting there watching the screen wondering what the fuck is he doing for a half hour, like you lose your mojo.
Yep, that's the firing room with Dane Wood, man. He's the shit.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
Absolutely. And since Creature Comforts went really well, and you take time, I mean, I'm pretty serious about finding particular people that I like working with and continuing to build that relationship.
Yeah.
So if I have a good experience with anybody, if that's like somebody screen printing or somebody who's pressing our records or whatever it is, it's like, well, I had a good experience with this person. I support their business. They support my, ideas. And that's just like, let's work on those relationships instead of being like, oh, I didn't like one little thing, and so I'm just going to search around for a, new place or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Creature Comforts went really well, and we fucking flew through that, and we're like, man, let's do something else, And
yeah,
this time he's just where Dane's at right now is he's kind of like, I want to make great art, so I don't care. Like if you guys come up with a budget, talk deal, then we're going to do a singular rate and we're just going to work on it until it's right.
That's
and
awesome.
That is not to be understated as well, because if you can do that, man, then you're not worried about counting the clock. Then you can actually lay down your best tracks. You're not panicking. Your heart rate's not elevated. You're spending money because you're leaking money.
You're leaking money and you're just trying to nail it. And so then whether or not it's good, you've got to go with it at the end of the day. And that's not right. You got to get it right.
Right. Or you nail it, but it has no feeling. Like it's like, oh yeah, I hit every note perfectly, but it didn't feel like me,
Isn't that weird? It's some sort of magic that happens in there that you can't nail down with whether or not it's right. It's got to feel right.
Yeah, absolutely. You've done it plenty of times.
Yeah, and I've definitely been in situations where it's not right at all.
Yeah.
I mean, we did this EP, our first EP with the red. It was like, it came out, it was like a red disc or like blue. There was a bunch of different colors, but it was just Larry and His Flask. Came in the brown paper bag. Dal was in jail for that record. So we had the time allotted. It was in between shows with Dropkick, and we just had to do it. It was gloomy, raining the entire time, and we were in this like practice warehouse. So there was all these weirdos in there. It stunk. It was really, really strange. That was the jail. And we were like, well, we got to fucking do it. I mean, we can't not. So that was definitely one of those, like, everything's wrong, but we just have to do it anyway. So.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy how that goes down, man.
Came out okay.
And, dude, time, I don't know, time and place and, like, the theme, the feeling that everybody has is so much of what makes a record. It's like so much of what makes a record, where you are mentally and emotionally too.
Yeah.
Man, it's crazy. But if you're not making records that way, then I don't know, you're a pop star, I guess. It's like if you're not making them emotionally, then
then it's something else that we're not familiar with.
Not music. That's not music. That's a commodity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's just a product at that point. Okay,
probably
so
why I don't make any money.
What's that?
I said that's probably why I don't make any money.
Yeah, exactly. We have this artistic integrity, and then if we're fucking broke. Yeah, well, whatever. So, I came up with this idea for the interviews. I think I'm going to do it every time. It's a little segment called I Call Bullshit. So, I'm going to make 3 statements about I'll make 3 rock trivia statements. One of them is complete bullshit. The other 2 are real. So all that you have to do is pick out the one that's wrong and call bullshit on it, and you win the prize. Oh,
this is hilarious.
There is no prize, but someday. Oh, think of something.
Because you're a musician.
Yeah, exactly. Artistic integrity. So okay, so number one. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Statement number one. Like I'll go through them all, and then we can decide which one. You can decide which one's bullshit. So number one, Glenn Danzig's height is 5'3". He's a mighty, mighty man with a big voice, but he is not tall. Okay, number two.
I know that.
The most.
That's why he's so angry.
Yeah. Got a toot, dude. Well, I wanted to give one that was pretty easy. We'll see.
Okay.
Number two. The most crowded show in rock history was a Rod Stewart show in Brazil in 1994. There were 3.5 million people there.
Well.
Number three. There is a golden Beatles record on the moon. Sorry, let me start over. There's a golden Beatles record on Mars. In 2004, the Mars lander Opportunity deposited a golden Beatles record on the Martian landscape, making rock history. So it's kind of like planting a flag there. So which one of those do you call bullshit on?
Fuck. I'm going to call bullshit on Rod Stewart.
Yeah, that's so funny. That's I just did this with Jesse just to see what he went with that one too, but that actually happened. The Martian Beatles record, I made that up. But
yeah, I know there's a gold record in space that has like old blues on it and shit like that.
Yeah. So it was Voyager 1 and 2, and Carl Sagan and his wife came up with that idea.
Right.
And so they got all of the sounds of Earth, all different genres of music and different like Aboriginal drums and classical music and all of this, and different things, and they put it on those golden discs and sent them into space. That's why I went with that, because it sounds familiar enough that you might think it's true, but it's not.
Yeah, I was like, well, I know that, so I'm like, maybe the Beatles thing isn't that far-fetched.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really. I mean,
but then you can't underestimate Brazilians either, because they will show up for shit.
Yeah. So his idea apparently was that he would do a show for the poorest people in the country, so that it was free, I guess, and it was on a big beach. So that happened.
That's awesome.
And then now,
of all people, you'd be like, I think it would be somebody like even bigger, like.
Yeah. I guess the Brazilians fucking love Rod Stewart, so God bless him.
Way to go, Rod.
Way to go, buddy. And then I guess we gave Elon Musk a new goal. He's got to put a golden Beatles record on Mars. He flew. Flying the car around it wasn't enough.
No. That was pretty cool, though.
Yeah,
I mean, that was cool. It'd be a lot cooler if it was playing the Roof Rabbits.
Yeah, there you go. Live feed from Martian space.
Speaking of records, I don't think we're gonna put Arizona on disc at all, just because discs just like sit in your closet. But we are going to try to self-finance putting it on vinyl. It looks like it's gonna happen. Possibly some Coke bottle glass green to match something you might find in the desert.
Nice.
And we're looking to get that done. Production on vinyl takes quite a while. So, but maybe 6 months from now, we'll have some of those.
Vinyl's the shit. Keep that going. That's great. Absolutely. So, I think we covered everything I wanted to cover. And Johnny Bourbon of the Roof Rabbits and your own independent solo stuff as well. I just wanted to say thank you so much for doing this interview with me.